Good morning, dear students of Kazakh University of Technology and Business. I'm the lecturer of the discipline, the legal system of the Republic of Kazakhstan. My name is Juanishbek Gulim Kotbekovna. The topic that we will discuss today is criminal law in the Republic of Kazakhstan. Here are some questions. The concept, origin, and principles of criminal law, crime, the notion, signs, and composition, criminal punishment, concept, signs, and types. Here's the lecture plan. Introduction, concept, subject, method, system, and sources of criminal law, objectives and principles of criminal law and their significance, criminal law, action of the criminal law in time, in space, and in the circle of persons, retroactive force of criminal law, criminal law legal relations and types of crimes, stage of crime, categories, compositions and types of accomplices in the crime, circumstances excluding, mitigating, aggravating, criminal liability and punishment, and the system of punishment, conclusion, and the literature. So, introduction. Criminal law, being a branch of the law of our country, is a set of legal norms established by the highest legislative body, determines the criminality and punishability of acts that infringe on social relations fixed in the country. The purpose, the function of criminal law is as specific as evidenced by the definition of its tasks, formulated directly in the law. The main source is the Criminal Code of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Criminal law is a system of legal norms established by highest bodies of state power, establishing the concept and science of a crime, the basis and chapters of criminal liability and punishment, as well as the basis and procedure for exemption from criminal liability and punishment. The subject of criminal law is social and legal relations arising in connection with the implementation of criminal responsibility, that is, the commission of a crime and the imposition of punishment for it. In its most general form, a crime is understood as an act of a person who transcends the limits of proper behavior established by the state. The main institutions of criminal law are crime and punishment. Criminal law system is divided into a common part and into a special part. Common part, tasks and principles of criminal law, grounds for criminal liability and exemption from it. Special part is an exhaustive list of specific elements of crimes with the definition for their commission of a specific type and amount of criminal punishment, determines what acts are crimes and establishes the types and amounts of punishment for each of them. I think you may read about the common part at home more properly because I will send this slide presentation to your group mates. Here are the sources of criminal law: Constitution of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Criminal Code of the Republic of Kazakhstan, and international treaties which are ratified by our country. Objectives and principles of criminal law and their significance. Protection from criminal encroachments of the rights and interests of society and the state protected by criminal law, ensuring peace and security, crime prevention, analysis of the current criminal legislation, and development of recommendations for its further improvement. Criminal law of our country is a normative legal act adopted in the prescribed manner by the highest bodies of criminal liability, types of crimes, as well as those punishments that are applied to persons who have committed crimes. Here are some types of crimes, criminal legal relations and types of crimes, and stage of crimes. Okay, let's continue to another slide. The thing that you need to memorize is that a crime is a legal concept, the general characteristics of which are defined in the norms of the general part of the criminal code. The social danger of an act lies in the fact that a crime always encroaches on specially important social values, defined as an object of criminal law protection in the special part of the criminal code. A crime inflicts or creates a threat of harm to law-protected goods and interests. Public danger is a material sign of a crime revealing its social essence. Wrongfulness means that a committed act can be recognized as a crime only if it is provided for in criminal law in the form of a prohibition or on a certain action or inaction. Guilt means that a socially dangerous and unlawful act can be recognized as a crime only if it was committed guilty, that is knowingly. Action is the active and conscious behavior of a person. Both action and inaction form a violational act of person conditioned by a certain motivation and manifestation of the person's free will. What is punishability? Punishability means that for every socially dangerous act prohibited by the criminal law, criminal liability should come in the form of strictly defined deprivations or restrictions. Criminal liability is also a mandatory feature of a crime. A crime is an act prohibited by the criminal law under threat of punishment. Criminal liability, therefore, is a feature that distinguishes a crime from other offenses. Categories of crimes. Ideal combination and real combination. The combination of crimes is recognized as the commission of two or more crimes, for none of which the person has been convicted. Here's the composition and types of accomplices in the crime: the object, the objective side, the subject, and the subjective side. The criminal legislation of our country distinguishes four types of accomplices: the perpetrator of a crime, the organizer of a crime, an instigator, and an accomplice. Circumstances excluding, mitigating, and aggravating criminal liability and punishment. Exclusive: necessary side, causing harm, urgent need, reasonable risk, physical or mental coercion, execution of orders or orders. Here is emollients. Punishments and their types. The list of types of punishment established by the state given in the law in a certain order, taking into account their content and relative severity, is called the system of criminal punishments. The system of punishments in the criminal code of our country contains an accurate and exhaustive list of punishment measures that the court may impose on a person who has committed a crime under the criminal law. The punishment system reflects the basic human principles of criminal law. The specificity and content of criminal law is determined by the tasks that it faces, defines the protection of the rights, freedoms, and legitimate interests of a person and citizen, property rights and legitimate interests of organizations, public order and security, the environment, the constitutional order and territorial integrity of our country, the interests of society and the state protected by law from criminal encroachments as tasks of the criminal legislation, safeguarding the peace and security of mankind and preventing crime. So criminal law can be shown as a branch, as a science, and as an educational discipline. The topic that we are discussing today is a kind of educational discipline. Subject of criminal law is a social relations. It can be protective, preventive, and regulatory. Okay. Security is a protection from criminal encroachments on human and civil rights and freedoms. Let's talk about criminal law system. It is divided into a common part and into a special part. Here are the principles of criminal law: principle of legality, equality of citizens before the law, guilt, justice, humanism. Here's the structure of the criminal law: disposition and sanction. Interpretation of the criminal law: types, by subject, by volume, by way. Principles of criminal law. Let's go further. For example, the principle of equality. This principle is proclaimed by Article 14 of our Constitution, the principle of justice, the principle of humanism. So this is the end of our lecture. Here are some questions for you to prepare at home. The concept and objectives of criminal law as an independent branch of law, sources and basic principles of criminal law, the concept of crime, the subject of the crime, criminal punishment and its types, goals and objectives of criminal punishment. Okay, thank you for this lecture. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your participation. Wish you to have a nice week. Goodbye.